Okay, it's 3 o'clock. We'll call the Forestry Committee meeting to order. First on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from July 16th of 2024. Motion to approve the minutes. Motion by Jerry. Second by Phil.
She's
Any
here,
discussion on the minutes? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is public comment. Limited to 3 minutes per person. Does anybody wish to speak in public comment? None.
A couple of questions. One is that skidder that's been out there in the woods for a year, leaking oil, what's the status on that? And two would be, can we drain a water hole to make a trail usable? These are little water holes like that table. Or is there a liability with that?
Anybody else?
I had one more, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay. Well, I'll save that for next time. Okay.
Well, just to follow up with Don there a little bit, if it's just a water hole, Don, it's not, that doesn't close the trail.
Not supposed to.
Unless it's meets those other criteria.
But it's red on the map.
Well, I guess then we'd have to figure out why it's red on the map. Is it considered a wetland, or why is it red on the map?
Top of the hill.
Maybe we need to go up and look at it.
Absolutely, that'd be good.
Anybody else? Any comments or public comment? Anybody else wish to speak in public comment? Not, public comment is closed. Then we'll go on to our monthly reports. Parks and Rec. You're doing everything today, aren't you?
Yeah, you're stuck with me for all the reports. Maybe somebody better will come next.
What's that?
Maybe somebody better will come next.
Wow.
Alright, Parks report. The construction work continues on the Weirgore ATV trail. They're doing some needed ditching and installing additional culverts. The highway department is scheduled to haul more gravel on this section this week or next week. The 100-foot ATV bridge has been set in place over the big Weirgore Creek. Construction has been halted until all erosion control measures are in place, and then they'll install the wood decking that needs to be installed. Wetland delineation has been completed on the Bucks Lake ATV trail development project. So now they're just waiting for the report on that, and then Mike can apply for the stormwater permit and they can start construction. He also just ordered 35 culverts for that project through the highway department. Next week is snowmobile and ORV funding meetings in Weston. Jared and Mike will be going to those. And they'll find out at that time if the latest recreational grants will be approved. That's all for Parks report, unless somebody got questions.
Any questions on the Parks and Rec report? If not, you're up again with timber sales.
Timber sales. We got a handful of crews working. It's been fairly dry out lately. We had our recertification audit 2 weeks ago, so we toured past and present logging jobs. We toured one active stock, which went really well. It looked really good. We had an interview with contractors Forestry, which went well. The auditor seemed to be pretty pleased with that sale, so that was good.
We pass?
best.
Good job.
JW Logging, which is basically Ted's truck. They are working on, they finished up cutting and skidding on 2 lump sum popple jobs, one on the end of 3 Lakes Road and one on Perch Lake Road. So they're just hauling wood on there. Still hauling on several jobs from last winter, holding wood. Overstory removal on the end of Euchre Road, it's looking really nice. There's some residual snow damage from the winter storms a couple winters ago, but other than that, it looks really good. Then they're working on a shelter wood, which is where we stopped for the audit on Betty Lake Road. Lionel Klein is working north of County F. We just got the stream crossing permit a couple weeks ago, put a temporary bridge in there, so he's working away in there. Country Forest Products is working by the VFW on County F. That's the select cut and overstory removal. That sale is also looking really good. Roger Hoyt is working west of the fire lane. They cut the top load of there last summer, and now he's working on the hardwood portion of that one, so he's handcutting it there. That's all I got for that. Unless you got questions.
Question on the snowmobile trail, east off of Hackett.
Yep.
Back when they were back in there on the house lot. That's still gone, closed out.
No, there's 2 sales back, actually back in there.
They'll be back in there this
They'll be
winter.
back in there this winter, hopefully, yeah.
There's a lot of wood sitting back there yet.
Be upstairs the second floor.
Yeah, there's still probably like a third of that sale to cut. They got a lot to haul yet in there.
Any other questions on the timber sales report? If not, we'll go on to the administrator's report.
Alright, so the audit week 2 weeks ago went really well. There was no corrective actions, no opportunities for improvement, and no observations, so it was a totally clean audit across all 4 counties that got reviewed. And it was a full recertification audit, so it was fairly intense, so that's went really well. We went to 7 timber sales. There was lots of discussion on BMP implementation, silviculture, contract amendments. They seem to be concentrated on that a lot, how we deal with BMPs, and if new BMPs rise, how we deal with that. You know, if streams change or ponds change, stuff like that. Derek, Dane, Roy, Jake, all did excellent. DNR was extremely helpful. Derek was great. We ended up going to like 3 or 4 Derek sales. He did a really good job. He was well prepared. Did a good job explaining. We also had Doug Brown there. Dave DeFura, who's now with the WCFA, actually was there. We also had a wildlife biologist, so they're always very helpful to have along to help explain things. And the auditors usually have a lot of questions for them, so that was very helpful. Jake Walsasak who's the certification coordinator for the DNR. Also very helpful. He did a lot of the groundwork and kind of behind the scenes work to answer a lot of the little questions with the auditors, which was really helpful. He's very good at his job, so that was all really good. Jared's been talking with off-highway motorcycle potential user group. They're expressing interest in having some of those trails in the county, so he's been working on Jared. I've been working on gathering information from other counties in the DNR on what other counties are doing with that, and then also talking with George on the potential stuff like that with ATV trails and such. We have 3 new pieces of land that are entered into county forest law, totaling just under 750 acres. So our new total is just under 3 acres shy of 90,000 acres. And then last on this list is the sustainable forestry grant that you guys approved applying for, has been applied for, so that's in the
several. We welcomed our new member Brent Fagerlin. He seemed fully engaged, actually got some signs and posts right away. There were some trails that hadn't been marked yet. He was going out to do those. Dane has been attending our meetings and that has been a huge help. He brought to us several trails that he thought could be open to highway vehicle use that were, good, hard packed roads. We went over those. Ross brought a few trails to our attention also. I think they have a list of all those numbers, cause there's a bunch of them, but they're all been looked over by us and them, and seems like they're for, good ones. Don has been putting up a bunch of signs also, and so things are moving along on our end really well. So, we did try to elect a new chairman, but he declined the, offer, so.
You're still with it?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Didn't want to hurt his feelings.
I've had 3 inquiries that I'll bring it up right now about Johns Creek Road. One by a berry picker, one by a bear hunter, and one person who was side by siding that realized they can't drive down that road even to the gate. It's open to vehicles, semis, everything except a side by side or a 4-wheeler. And so that's probably gonna come up at our next meeting, and that's something we should look at, why that one trail is not open. I realize there's kind of a non-motorized area, but if you can drive a pickup down it, you would think a side by side on the hard pack would be fine too. So something we're gonna look at, just to give you a heads up. But the other trails, I think Dane's got all the list of them and they're ready to go, so. That's it.
Alright. On to, discussion of possible motion, do we have new carbon credit update? Have a new one.
Hey, Lindsay, can you hear us?
Hey, I can. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were
Phil was
speaking with
mumbling.
a new or still internal.
Nope, you guys can go ahead and take it away.
Okay, I'm gonna message Ming Fei to have him hop on, and we should be good to go. Just a moment. Hi everyone, good to see you all. We're waiting for Ming Fei, he should be on shortly, but my name is Lindsay Welker. I am part of the ANU team and I'm your account manager. And I've been working with ANU for about 2 years here in Salt Lake City. So part of a big group of folks that are behind the Carbon Project. Work with Ashley and Jared here and there, probably every quarter or so. And welcome to my colleague Ming Fei. He is the implementation lead for the Rusk County project.
Nice to meet you, everyone.
So to my understanding, Ashley and Jared asked us to present to the board today to talk a little bit about the Carbon Project with ANU, what ANU does, and just the future of what we hope to accomplish as your partner, and just become successful in this project. So, Ashley, if there's anything else, please let me know, but I will just start my presentation real quick. And I'm in a screen share, so let me know if this does not work. All right, can you guys see that all right?
Yep, we got your screen up.
And it might be a little slow, so my apologies. Here in our board meeting office, so. Essentially, Anu is here to be your partner in the carbon project with Rusk County. We have other counties that we work with. You and Bayfield being some of the initial ones, so we're excited to work with you all. We really enjoy the Wisconsin area and feel it's a good fit for us and Anu. And part of our mission here, I just wanted to explain it a little bit, just so you know, it's not just a carbon project and we're here all to make money, because there is an environmental impact that we want to make sure that comes from this partnership. So our mission, Anu's mission is to make the highest and best use of our skills, capabilities, experiences, and influence we possess to have the greatest impact on the climate. Our values are integrity, trust, creativity, and a hope. Essentially, we just want to ensure that you guys know that we're using the best possible technology, and we have some of the brightest and most creative people here at ANU that are trying to pioneer forward to mitigate climate change. So, and we're happy to have your project on board, because forestry is a very key, important part of climate change, so, and reduction in climate impact. So, a little bit about ANU and the different sectors. We do some advisory work, so if there is a company out there, specifically a buyer that's looking to figure out what their carbon footprint is, we do help advise on that component. We are the retailer, so we do sell credits, specifically your project's credits. But most importantly, we're a developer. So we help develop projects, forestry, technical projects such as landfill, flaring gas projects. We also are in the renewable fuel space. So we're just, we're trying to get anywhere we can that helps create a real environmental benefit. The next component I'm going to share with you guys is our carbon development guide. This is fairly recent that we put this together. It's essentially a guide for you, and I can share this with you guys after the meeting, on what ANU does, the teams behind it, and it takes to create a carbon project and issue credits and sell those on the market. So I'm gonna go find a different piece to share with you, so just a moment.
You said in Wisconsin, the two counties you have are Bayfield and Rusk County. That's the only two.
Oh, we have, I think, 9 counties, but the ones that that have been at the forefront of the counties are actually you, Iron, Washburn, and Bayfield. So we've been able to move the furthest in our production or in our development phase with you guys. You guys have all been excellent partners. Can you guys see my screen for developing a forest carbon project?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, hard to hear you guys sometimes. So I'm just gonna go briefly over this because I can share this with you so you can see more in depth. Our team, my team specifically, is the client success team. So we're here as your partner for any questions. We are always attending all the implementation meetings. Our team is called Client Success and is led by Jessica Stelberger here in Salt Lake. And we've got a couple other colleagues that recently joined, but I'm your primary contact for the project. So just a brief overview of the ANU teams that it takes to create a carbon project. We have origination, so your original contact for origination is Josh Strauss. So some of you are familiar, and he apologizes for not being able to be on the meeting today, but, he did, give us some points to help cover. So he was the one that originated the project, and, part of their project, or their component is to bring on the project and get it into the implementation phase and pass that on to Ming-Fei and myself. So, and then we'll move on to the implementation side, which is in, Ming-Fei's component, where, further on in this document, we can dive in, but, there's a big team behind the implementation side of it. So Ming-Fei is your face. However, there's probably 10 to 20 others that, work on your project at any given time. And then, client success account managers, that's myself. You may hear from, or email, here and there for just brief updates. So if you ever see client success to any of you, that's who we are, that's me. Voluntary sales and portfolio management, that is the group of folks that are going to sell your project credits. So we've got, since you guys are in the carbon market, the voluntary carbon market space, that means companies that are working to buy your project's credits are voluntarily buying those credits. So they're not required, it's not a compliance market. So just keep in mind, there's a pretty big team behind the sales team that is sharing your project with buyers.
Are any of those people on the call today?
Not today, however, if you guys would like, once we get issuance and, I actually, something I'll go over here in just a bit is that we're gonna be visiting with you guys, in October, and we might be able to have maybe a more in-depth discussion about the sales process with you, if you prefer.
You're doing a site visit here in October?
It's actually just a marketing pop-in. I've kind of arranged a little bit with Ashley at this point. We're just gonna come up and see if we can take some footage of the project lands and just kind of make a promo piece to share with buyers, and also any media outlets. Like we typically function on LinkedIn, where we promote projects. So it's pretty, we're not gonna blast you everywhere, but we do have a particular group that we'd like to share your story with. So we're excited. I have not been up in that area, so it'll be a good visit for me. We also have our marketing and communications teams, and that you'll actually probably come in contact with them later on here in a couple months when we start communicating more about the project. So we've already done a little bit of communications and marketing, but now that we get closer to issuance, we're gonna really ramp up talking about your project more. Of course, we have the legal team. They're always here for any questions that you guys might have. You know, if you're, we call it the EMA, which is the Carbon Development and Marketing Agreement. So if there's any questions, we have someone, we have a couple people here in my office that can help with any questions. And then we do have a couple little, our accounting, we have a couple different groups that you may hear from here and there. Our Know Your Customer team, I'll be reaching out with to you guys for some information, but it's just an accounting function, and we've got a couple of those folks that may be chatting with you. So otherwise, you'll be hearing from Ming-Fei and I for the majority of the time. I'm going to go over very briefly just the project development timeline and steps. I'm going to skip forward to a more in-depth page here. So you guys have pretty much went through all of these steps, but I figured it'd be kind of important just to say, like, project development is a pretty technical and in-depth process. So there was quite a few teammates that were involved, and Ming-Fei led that effort. A lot of mapping, modeling, and data collection that we do on our end to ensure that that the carbon that we say is in those, stocks on those plots truly exists. So you can scientifically prove, that the carbon's there, so the credits are real, and marketable. So once we go through this, all these different timelines, we'll actually get to, verification and registry review. So right now, we're in registry review. We've passed through verification, so all the documentation that we've provided, site visits, inventory, everything checks out. Registry review, that's where it goes into technical review, just to confirm with the registry, which is the American Carbon Registry that you guys are working with, they can ensure that everything is correct.
And how long have we been in the registry review process for?
Ming-Fei, can you
Yeah,
chime in on that one? I'm not sure.
yeah, the registry review is completed for Q1, the reporting period 1. And yeah, it does takes about 3 to 4 months in the past. And this is also clearing the trend we've seen in the past one. And given this project is on a 1.3 methodology, which is already a pretty mature and thorough methodology, we expect for the future reviews will be similar duration.
So I believe we're expecting credit issuance here shortly. I know I spoke with Ashley and Jared about issuance, and part of that component is procuring buffer pool credits. So imagine it's like an insurance premium that you have to pay every year. So the registry requires a certain percentage of those, and I'll go through on that on a later slide. But we just need those, and then we essentially Anu pays for those upfront, and then submits to the registry for issuance. So we are marketing the project even if it's not issued yet. We can enter into a contract prior to issuance. So as soon as those credits issue, we can sell those and deliver to the buyer. Do you guys have any questions on the timeline so far?
So how long till we might see some money out of this?
Well, that's a very good question, because I think we need to go probably a little bit more in depth in the sales cycle, and I know this has been something that I've talked with Ashley and Jared about before, is the sales cycle is pretty lengthy, because Anu is searching for buyers. We go out and they'll either contact us or we'll contact them if they have a need, and it could be anywhere from a couple months to a year to contract a sale. So as this being a voluntary market, the buyers are typically the ones that have the seat, the control. So Anu's working on your behalf to find those buyers right now.
What are our administrative costs to this point so far?
Yeah, that's actually something I'll share with you guys here in just a bit. I've got a little slide on that as well. So anyway, but if you guys have any questions on this document, you're welcome to review. It goes over through annual requirements. It goes over.
Can you send that document to us when you're done? Send it to Jared or Ashley or something, Dane?
Absolutely. And it goes through common questions and such. So especially, I know you guys have some new members on the board. This would be helpful for you in understanding just carbon in general. I know it's something, I didn't come from this industry, so I had a lot of learning to do myself. So I think it's a really good document to really understand how it functions. So, so I'm gonna actually cruise over to my other, back to my slides. Give me just a minute. I'm not super awesome at what I'm sharing, so hang on. Learning as I go here. Okay, So back to our slides, specifically for Rusk County financials. So one thing, the major thing to keep in mind is that Anu always upfronts the cost. So we take care of the cost of the verification, inventory, site visits, credit activation, anything that is considered a third-party expense. So that's part of our contractual agreement with you. And those expenses are reimbursed through credit sales. So as we get sales, we will basically tick off those expenses until there's a revenue share to be given to Rusk County. So if we were able to sell, there's two credit types, and that's something I realized I didn't go through on these slides, but there are two credit types, and if we were to get a reasonable sale for you, we could easily take care of those third-party expenses and have revenue share to you. I don't have timing, but we've had some reasonable sales inquiries for county projects, and so I'm confident that we'll be able to get you revenue, but we just don't know when. That's the key. So, and also one thing I'd like to bring up is that I know with a public entity like yourselves, you provide, or you want more transparency for documentation for expenses. So I've put some stuff together that I'm going to provide Jared and Ashley. So please let me know if that meets the expectations or if you need more information. So we're going to basically provide like a general ledger of where you're at for expenses and then what sales have happened or when they happen, so you guys have an idea of where you're at. So right now we're at $131,000 in expenses, and the majority of that is verification, site visit, and inventory. You guys have any questions about expenses at this point? So the next thing I want to cover is the buffer pool credits. This is part of the expenses, and those it's not included in the 131,000 expenses right now. So I will, once we get an idea of what those expenses will be for the buffer pool credits, what value we end up paying, I'll give you a better idea of what expenses are total for the first reporting period. Right now, so buffer pool credits are essentially your insurance premium, and they cover the risk for each reporting period. So each year, each reporting period that you submit to the registry and issue credits, you have to provide buffer pool credits. That's for, and Minfei can go into better depth of what they cover, if you don't mind doing that, because mine I think is a little too brief.
Yeah, given this accounting project, based on the protocol, buffer credits will be 16% of the total crediting that's being issued. So the more credit you got, the more buffer you need to contribute, and that protects the county from any adverse effect that causes loss in stocking, including like wildfire, hurricane, and all those natural occurrences that are not under human control. So if those happen and your project stocking goes below the previous project stocking, in which we call it a reversal. So rather than normally if the reversal is happened, you need to pay back all the credits that's been issued, and to make up for it, basically to make up the CO2 being lost, the carbon being lost. But in those natural cases, you're protected by those, so you don't end up owning anything to the registry, and those buffer credits, the entire all projects will make up for the loss, and you can keep the project going on as usual. So that's how it adds more like an insurance in that case. But also noted that the buffer pool doesn't protect any other intentional
16 Fay, that's great.
So that's every single year we put 16% of our credits in that buffer pool.
Correct, and just so you're aware, some, depending on which registries you're going through and what, market, like protocol you're under, like the compliance market requires you to, put in your own credits to the buffer pool, which means you would lose out on market rate. But anew with the voluntary market for ACR, they approve, it doesn't have to be a like for like credit. It can be a lower valued credit, so that's where we come in and are able to procure a credit at a lower cost. And we pay for that up front, so you guys aren't losing out on that revenue.
Yeah, and also like to add that 16% is only pricing one, because buffer pool is based on a risk rating that depends on multiple factors. The two big main factors are fire and pest and disease. So currently the project is seeing the lowest of those two risk factors, and given the fact if there's like a big fire occurred near property on the property, or there's like a very serious epidemic of pest and disease going on, the bugs the percentage might increase by like even how to say it's like 4 to 8%. Depends on the year. But currently it's 16%. And that goes, I mean, Liens is that document may outline this is also part of annual monitoring requirements is to ask the other than harvesting has you see any disturbance or pest and disease happening on the property, and those will be as contribute as input to those buffer pool calculations.
So right now you guys are at the lowest risk, so that's good. It goes anywhere from 16 to 20% on average.
Well, we haven't sold
so-
any yet, so we ain't at any risk, are we?
Not exactly, but when you do issue, you know, there will be risk, or you will be subject to risk if there's any changes from RP1 to RP2, reporting period 1 to the reporting period 2. So it's just a requirement from the registry, and all registries require a buffer pool. It's just the percentage and risk factors are all different based on what kind of project you're participating in.
So we've already purchased our credits for reporting period 1 and reporting period 2?
We have not. So Anu is working on it right now. That's what we're doing. We're going out to find those credits. So it could be like just for example, it could be like a landfill, or those are typically some of the lower cost credits, or like a wind project. Those projects come in at lower prices. So forestry, right now for values of the credit, I didn't put it in here because it does change, but right now we're looking at about $14.50 for a conservation credit, which you'll see over here on this table that says other ERTs. That's a conservation credit or an avoidance credit. Removals are the growth of the project. So they have two pricing types. Conservation credits are about $14.50 per credit right now, and removals are anywhere from $20 to $28 credit. So that's where the true value is of Anu going in and finding those credits for you, so you're not paying those higher rates for buffer pools. Or you could give your credits up at market rate to the registry. You just wouldn't get any revenue back for those. Any questions about expenses or buffer pool credits? I'm gonna move along. So Anu is currently marketing your project in a couple different ways. We have a project summary that is shared with buyers anytime there's an inquiry on the project, and I can also include that document when I email you guys all the slides, the carbon project overview, and the project summary, so you have an idea of what buyers are looking for. It's not just a one pager, I think this one's about 4 pages and covers a couple different components of the project. And I think it's well designed and tells a very good view of Rusk County. We'll be coming up, like I mentioned, in October to make it basically a marketing video, get some video of the project land, some probably drone footage, and then potentially maybe meet with Ashley or Jared and see if we can get some audio to go over the video, so it's nice and tells a good story. And it's probably only going to be maybe a minute long, but we'd like to just say hi and visit with you guys.
So when companies purchase these credits, they purchase them from a certain, we wanna buy these specifically from the Rusk County Forestry project. It's not like they're just a currency that you buy so many credits.
It depends. Like more in the compliance market, it functions as just, I need so many credits and I want to pay the lowest value. The voluntary market, they're looking specifically for projects that have like co-benefits. So they want to know, does it have any community benefits? Does it, watersheds protected? They want to know the good parts. They don't want to just know, okay, it's this location, this price, I want that project. So we're having to go through a little bit more of a marketing effort than before when the market was really hot and they didn't care. Now buyers are being very diligent about what projects they support. We also have you guys on our website right now. So we have an area, our natural carbon solutions area. I put the little website address at the bottom, but you guys are featured as a project. So if someone is on our website and clicks on that link, they can learn about your project. And right now, that's basically all that I have to share with you guys. I know this is probably a very big overview of carbon, so if you have specific questions, we'll take them right now, or you're welcome to have Jared and Ashley email those over to us, or we can, schedule some time to meet again to go over a lot more in depth on these on the carbon projects.
Anybody got any other questions?
So, we haven't reached issuance yet for our carbon credits. So technically, they're not on the market, correct?
You can market a carbon project summary, or a carbon project credit at any point from its listing. So you can, your project, no, it has not issued, but it is, we can forward contract that project. So if we have a buyer that's interested today, we can enter into a sales contract. And the second it issues, we can deliver and collect revenue to share with you.
Do you have examples of any other entities of what you've paid them so far for carbon credits? That's what you just said.
I can't share that information. Pretty much, we've got a lot of non-disclosures with our groups, what information is shared. I may be able to read out some
Has there been any
information for
counties
you.
that have gotten, an actual dollar amount, checking them out yet?
Next week. That's all I can say. Next week, there will be one in the mail or in the bank account, so.
Would that be your first county?
Yes, first time. I know you guys talk, so I'm sure you can figure that out.
So here's a question, because I've been asked this. what would it cost us if we decided we no longer wanted to go down this road?
That is a good question, and I can't entirely answer that for you. But essentially, you'd be responsible for all the incurred expenses on the project. And then, I am not entirely sure, but I wanna say the first reporting period, a certain value of those credits. This is where we get in the weeds with legal that I'm not familiar with. But we hope it doesn't come to that point. The market has been very soft, meaning, it slowed down a lot from when you guys were originally contracted. However, it's been picking up in this year. 2023 was very difficult, so, 24 is picking up. So we see a light at the end of the tunnel for forward movement for projects like yours.
Is it possible for you to get us that information so we at least have an idea?
Yeah, I have to reach out to legal and, I think our settlements team to figure out some information, but I can definitely provide that. Do you want like exact numbers or just a rounded figure?
Just a rough figure, because I'm looking at it from a strictly accounting standpoint right now. And I know that after this is done, we will be, our fees for continuing the monitoring for the next, however many years that is, will be just under $500,000 just to administer that. So I'm just trying to get a good basis of where the numbers stand. And like I said, looking at it from an accounting perspective and financially for the county, what those options look like, that's all.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, like I mentioned, you guys, if you require additional information, for expenses, documents and whatnot, just, have Ashley and Jared reach out because, we wanna be as transparent and open with you guys as possible, and ensure that you guys have what you need to communicate back to the board, to the public. We wanna be, the best partner we can be, so please let us know what you require, and we'll get it to you.
Anybody else have any more questions? Okay, I think that's it, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, it's great to see you all, and, we'll be working with you later.
Yeah,
Take
then
care.
Dave, just to get your presentation, because it's coming up on the screen and very small, and we can't even hardly read it, so.
She said she was gonna.
Yeah,
send that.
I'll follow up for sure.
And if you could just email that information to Ashley for me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Yeah.
Okay, so next. Do we have any more discussion on that? If not, we're on to, trial recommendations.
You have them all, right, Dane?
Yeah, so we've been working the last few meetings and outside meetings and coming up with a list for the highway licensed vehicle use areas that was put in the ordinance originally. We just haven't designated any trails yet, so we've come up with a list of about 20 trails that we think can be put on there. So I put together the list. I also made a new sign, what it'll look like, so in order to do that, they're thinking, between us and the trails committee, we came up with using, they don't wanna do the ATV only trails anymore, which was the original white diamonds. So we changed the white diamonds to the highway licensed vehicle use trails. So then we could just add a sticker, just cover up the old writing with a new sticker on all the signs that are already out there, if that makes sense. So if you wanna see that, I have those, and I also made a new map which has all the proposed highway licensed vehicle trails on it.
We need a, motion for that.
basically the map is just updated, I just changed those trails to white on there to match the color designation, that's all. Easy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like all the green trails are green, red ones are the closed ones, green ones are the ATV, UTV open trails, and then these white ones will be the highway license vehicle use trails.
So I guess a motion is in order to move by Jerry, second by Alec.
Just one in our packet on there too?
That's what
That's an access permit.
And that's the access permit.
Okay, so we got a motion by Jerry, second by Alec to, designate those trails as highway vehicle, use. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, say no. Carries. On the trail recommendations. Is there anything else, Jay?
Did those include the three that Ross had? Okay, then I think they're all good, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a list that they had routed originally asked for a list from Jared and I. Then we also put together a few that they thought should be on there. And then in looking through more, Jared and I just came up with a few more that we could throw on there. That we just missed in the first go around, so.
Are you gonna update the maps?
What was that?
You gonna update the maps?
Yeah, well, now that it's approved, we can put that new map online, and it'll be on there.
Yeah, weren't you gonna give me the app?
Yeah, if you want it.
Okay, if we got nothing more on the trails, then we'll go to the private land access permit. Jeff Lund.
So this is, it's an existing access permit actually, but they're supposed to be updated every 10 years, we found out. This one's like 20 years old. And also, so we're working on two, there's new language that was added in Talking Bridge in the last year or so with, pertaining to like stream crossings and wetland crossings, that sort of thing. Basically stating that if they need, permitted stream crossings or wetland crossings, they're in charge of getting those. And doing all the work to put them in.
We don't have all the liability, basically.
Correct. So that's what this basically is, it's just renewing an existing, access agreement. And they're in the process of getting a permit for the stream crossings there. We actually have a logging job looking there right now, and they have a temporary bridge permit right now, but obviously,
The logging job.
yeah, the logging job does, obviously the landowners want something a little more permanent, so they're, it's a special use trout stream, so they have to get a individual stream crossing permit for a rock ford, which takes quite a bit of time, so. And it's a little more expensive, so. Yeah, it's just to access that private AD up there.
Okay, do we get a motion to approve? Motion by Alec. Second by Jerry. To approve the access permit. Any more discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Approval to bid out the Uyghur Trail gravel. Motion by Jerry, second by Stacy. Any more discussion?
Yeah, you just had a question on it. This is for this winter, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Because they didn't crush the gravel yet, we just did that on Monday. But I don't remember if there was a deadline on the crushing.
November 1st.
December, I thought, one of the two, but I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
That's coming out of the emergency pit, I believe.
Okay, so we got motion by Jerry, second by Stacy. Any more discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carries. Go to county travel. Looks like Jared and you, everybody are going to review.
Yeah. So Jared and I will go to the legislature meetings for WCFA, and then for sure Jared and I and potentially the rest of them will go to the annual meetings this fall.
We need that many people going to these meetings.
They're pretty beneficial. They do a lot of, they get a lot of guest speakers and trainings at them. Not technically trainings, but they have speakers they give out, get a lot of useful information.
I'm just looking at the cost, you know, that's the cost for us to go to the meeting, plus we're paying the wages for 5, 6 people to go. $3,000, $4,000 a day, you know, meeting, you sit there and think about it. I don't know why, you know, you and Jared can go to them and come back and report to your guys. You know, paying wages for you guys to go to them, plus we're paying for them. How beneficial really is it when you factor in your wages and what it's costing us to send you to them? That meeting there alone is $1,835 just to go to the meeting, plus you figure in everybody's wages. We need to start doing some more figuring on going to some of these meetings. That's my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. It's getting expensive to send them to meetings. How beneficial is it when we got our administrator and our second in command going to these that can come back and report to our lower guys? You know, you guys are their boss, everybody underneath you. You have meetings in the mornings when you can kind of go over with, I don't wanna approve the one meeting, not that many going. Then the other meeting, one's July 25th, why are we approving one for that?
Oh, that one, I got a call for, pre-approval on that, 'cause that was a, pre-audit meeting, or audit going on. Which is,
And there's one for August 5th, who else?
yep, and then that was the opening.
Yeah, that's one.
So those two, I did do my pre-approval.
They kind of changed their minds on some of that stuff, the audit teams, on who they wanted there. They originally just wanted Jared at some of that stuff, and then they decided they wanted more of us there.
You know,
Essentially
6
what
people to go to the annual meeting, that's the whole department basically, ain't it?
I'm not going.
I think, you know, we can send, you know, our higher management, and they can come back and report to the,
Well, when it comes to training, when, anybody who betters themselves at one of those meetings becomes more of a valuable asset for the county as well, though.
I don't know, but you have the meetings over a year,
Well, I'd like to be included in the annual meeting, because I have a board of directors meeting the first day. And I only get paid $40 or $50 a day, so. And Acton County Forest Association pays my first day and half my mileage. I would like to be included in on it for the 3 days.
I'll make the motion approval except for the annual meeting. Because I don't know the names of who, might be. Jared,
So you wanna do that first and then do the other
I'll
one?
make the motion to approve Mike. Jared will. But if they can, convince me of that beneficial.
I mean, I've always enjoyed going to them. I think you get a lot out of listening to the meetings, and there's networking involved because it's a statewide meeting, so you get all the county foresters from across the state, and including some DNR personnel show up, so it's a good chance to catch up with them and talk about what everybody's working on and get new ideas, stuff like that. In addition to learning all the new stuff that you get to learn at the speakers and getting updated on what's going on.
Okay, so we got a motion to approve all the out of county travel listed with the change to the out of county for the WCFA annual meeting being just Jared, Dane, and Mike. We have Jerry. Do we have a second?
So I'm not included in the county, in the annual meeting? or- Oh. So we approved all of this form you made? Well, I'd rather make sure the board supports it.
Yeah, I support you.
Okay, we got a second? Anybody want a second that? Okay, if not, then, motion dies for lack of a second. Does anybody else wanna make a motion on the out of county travel? Approve the whole thing or something?
I'll make a motion to approve the whole thing to get it moving.
Okay, we got a motion by Phil to approve all the out-of-county travel listed. We have a second. Do we have a second on approving the out-of-county travel?
Go down, you guys.
Is that a second? Alright, we got a second by Alec. To approve the out-of-county travel as listed. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed say no.
No.
Carries. Alright, on to review and approval of the bills. Anybody got any questions on the bills? If nobody's got any questions on the bills, motion be in order to approve the bills. Everybody lost their motions in seconds. You got a motion to pay the bills?
In the middle of my signing.
We'll, got a motion by Phil. Second by Alec, pay the bills. Any more discussion? Not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Carries. Okay, to set the next meeting date. 3 P M. Work for everybody? Okay, next meeting will be September 17th at 3 P M. And, I'm not gonna ask for a motion for that. I don't know if I want to call it.
You say 16?